Hello everyone, I'm Kelsey Lemon, Technical Marketing Manager at VMware, and I want to welcome you to the Day 2 Mastery series, where we look at specific features and workflows that allow you to get the most out of the service. And so in this episode, we're going to focus on how you can automate the remediation of some of Skyline's findings and recommendations and improve your productivity at the same time. If you're a frequent viewer of my Day 2 videos, you've undoubtedly seen how Skyline can diagnose your environments and come back with specific recommendations to make it more secure, stable, and resilient. And if you've attended my Day 2 webinars, you may have even heard me say that quite a number of Skyline's recommendations can be automated with scripts and CLI tools. Well, today I'm going to show you how it's done with a straightforward workflow that connects all the dots on how Skyline and a bit of simple scripting can help you remove long-standing items from your to-do list and improve your productivity at the same time. So odds are, if you're an IT admin, you're already familiar with the concept of scripting and CLI tools. Some of you may even be power users. But if you're not a power user, you may have some reservations. And here are a few that I've heard, as well as some responses to them. The first one, I'm not a programmer. And that's okay, you don't have to be. If you understand the basic concepts of programming, you'll be surprised at what can be accomplished with a simple script that's comprised of only a few lines. Another fear or pushback that I hear a lot is simply, I may break something. And of course, this is a very legitimate concern. Checks and balances should definitely be in place before implementing scripts. I see it as somewhat analogous to learning how to drive, right? You definitely need to practice in a controlled situation, like a small test dev environment, before you're comfortable enough to execute scripts in production. And lastly, I often hear, why should I use scripting and CLI tools when I can do everything in a graphic user interface? Well, GUIs are definitely there to make our life easy. But if your GUI requires that you go through multiple steps to complete a single task, imagine the productivity sink that you'll experience if you have to do it at scale across the entire environment. Scripts can automate this process and give you that very valuable time back. And that last bit leads me to talk about why you should consider integrating scripts. Like I mentioned, scripts can help you manage IT environments at scale. Often Skyline will provide a recommendation that can address potential issues that could impact as many as 30 objects at once. Trying to address them individually wouldn't be a very productive use of time. And here's a very interesting statistic here. 60% of availability and performance errors are often caused by misconfigurations. Scripting could reduce that number significantly. And finally, on a more personal note, having the ability to script just simply makes you more valuable to the team. It'll make you even more of a hero than you already are. So let's jump into Skyline and see this workflow in action. As you can see, Skyline has given me 107 recommendations with different levels of severity. Earlier, you heard me say that 60% of availability and performance errors are often caused by misconfigurations. And interestingly enough, one of Skyline's most reported environment findings relate to how NTP is configured. So let me do a search, and lo and behold, I see that my environment is reporting this issue as well. It's a critical issue indicating that NTP is not configured across my EXXI hosts, and that the times must be synchronized as well. And if this issue is not addressed, the stability of my environment can be compromised. Skyline is even telling me the names of the EXXI hosts that are impacted and the vCenters where they are located. And luckily there's a fix for this. There's a KB article that describes exactly what I need to do to self-remediate without opening an SR at VMware. And you may have seen me show this feature before, but I'm going to export these findings into a CSV file, as it's going to play a major role a little bit later in the demonstration here. But what I want you to do is to simply make note of the vCenter names, the 6 EXXI hosts, and the KB number that automatically gets included with this report. So I'm working from home today, so I'm going to remotely log into my vSphere client. I can see the vCenter and the 6 EXXI hosts where Skyline has detected the potential issue. And as you can see, NTP isn't configured, and the time is set to manual for all of them. I've copied over the CSV file that I've exported from Skyline so that it resides locally. This particular machine only has Notepad installed, which is why the file looks different, but the data is exactly the same. So now the fun part, here's a script that I'm going to use, and I can't take credit for it. It was written by one of our many heroes here at VMware, Sunny Gwynn. And as you can see, it's just a few lines of code. Basically, the script has set variables for the vCenter name, the EXXI host, and the KB article that it will pull from that CSV file that I exported earlier. It will then assign an IP address to the NTP servers, start the service, and set the time. And since the CSV file has 6 objects, it's going to do this 6 times. So now I'm just simply going to run the script. I can minimize this and focus on higher priorities if I want it, but I'm going to keep it open so that you can see what's happening in the background. Now that the script has been completed, I can see that my issue has been resolved. I'm going to click on a couple of the hosts here so that you can see that the service is indeed configured and installed and running, and the time has been set appropriately. And now to confirm, I'm going to go back over to Skyline, and I can see that my issues have dropped. I've gone from 107 to 106 issues. And now I'm just going to do a search for NTP, and I can see that it's been removed as a potential issue from the service as well. And with that, this concludes this episode of the Day 2 Mastery Series. I hope you found it informative. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and be on the lookout for live webinars where you can ask me and the rest of the Skyline team questions about the service.